BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Hello, this is Stephen Fry here. I was lucky enough to be a guest on the podcast a few months ago and able to talk about mental health in the battlefield and at home in Ukraine, a subject that Ukrainians are taking very seriously and I've been connected with for decades now. So it was wonderful to get an opportunity to talk about this subject. It's incredibly important, and it's a sign, I think, of what Ukraine stands for, that they embrace the subject for conversation and realize its importance. In Russia, it's not spoken about at all, and that's only asking for trouble for their population, I think. Anyway, it's my pleasure now to read a short story from the book Brave Tales by Irina Vyhovska and Victoria Morovana. It's called Miracle in the Darkness. Just as Christia reached for the packet to retrieve a ginger biscuit for her and her brother, the lights went out. "Oh dear, here it goes again," she sighed. The TV flickered and died, carrying with it the vibrant cartoon unicorns on the screen. The lights in the living room went out. Darkness enveloped the entire apartment. The kettle, the toaster, the ficus plant on the windowsill, and Christia, all thrown into shadow. It was not the first time the electricity had vanished. Soldiers were driving the invaders beyond the borders of their land, and in desperation the enemy would launch rockets at their power stations. The lights would go off, but engineers would work tirelessly to repair them, and the light would return. It seemed to be all anyone would talk about: parents, the news, and even Mrs. Olesia at school. At first the darkness was dull, but as time passed, the little girl began to conjure up new and exciting games, each more imaginative than the last. In the midst of the darkness, Christia fumbled for the button on her flashlight. Then, lighting her way, she cheerfully marched to her brother's room. Their parents were at work, so 12-year-old Marco was in charge. He was a grown-up and so feared nothing. Marco was frustrated by the power outages. He was trying to complete a new level on his video game. But their parents had explained that blackouts were always only temporary and that everything would be back to normal soon. They also said that once upon a time in their own childhoods, they too invented games in the dark. According to them, it was great fun. "Ugh, sitting in the dark is so much fun," Marco snarked sarcastically. He was convinced that his parents must have lived in prehistoric times, when the only lights that existed were campfires. Christia, however, believed in miracles, and was certain that the darkness held a special power. For in the dark one can play and imagine, especially if one possesses a flashlight. "Marco, are you there?" she whispered. I'm here. What is it?" her brother replied. "The lights have gone out." "Wow, thank you, Captain Obvious. And? Are you scared?" "Pfft, no way. I have a flashlight. Come out for a moment." Reluctantly, Marco emerged from his den. His phone was at half battery, just enough left to finish the game, but his little sister was irritatingly persistent. However, as he did actually love his sister and had promised their parents to take care of her, he reluctantly ventured into the living room. Marco was well prepared for the darkness. His headlamp illuminated the entire room. He flicked the Christmas lights on for ambience and flopped onto the sofa. "Well, what's up?" he asked. "Listen, Marco, do you remember when you said that we could play in the dark?" "Yeah, look, I'm in the middle of a game on my phone," he replied. "I need to finish it before my battery dies. Let's do it later." "No, let's do it now, please." Marco sighed, but eventually agreed. After all, he could save the battery for later. "Sit right here." He placed a pillow on the floor for Christia, setting his headlamp on a nearby stool. "We'll do shadow theatre." "Like a puppet show?" Christia's eyes widened. "Way cooler." The boy folded his hands, spreading his fingers in front of the headlamp, first casting a funny mouth onto the wall, and then a rabbit with long, twitchy ears. "Wow!" Christia exclaimed. "I want to try too." After a few attempts, she managed a credible dog and a crocodile. Absorbed in the game, the children arranged themselves and some of their toys and figurines in front of the light. Their shadows on the wall grew enormous. Christia's favourite dolls became life-sized, and the neck of their toy giraffe stretched out absurdly long. The children were captivated. "You know, you can see the stars better in the dark," said Marco. "Let's create a starry sky inside the room. We'll need a colander." So Christia bravely lit the way with her flashlight and headed to the kitchen. It turned out that shining a light through the holes of a humble colander threw stars across the ceiling. The children sat enchanted under their starry sky. "It's so beautiful in the dark," Christia whispered dreamily. The siblings had never played so peacefully, nor so creatively before. "We can also imagine that we're on an unknown planet where there's never any light. We need to build a blanket fort." Marco was unstoppable. He dragged several blankets to the dining table, creating a cosy fort. Christia brought over her packet of ginger biscuits and a thermos of chamomile tea. It's best to have some snacks for a mission to an unknown planet. For a while, all that could be heard from under the blankets was the sound of munching and loud slurping. "Marco, you know, it's cool in the dark, but sometimes when the light is gone for a long time, it feels like it will never come back." "Let's go. I'll show you something." Marco took his sister's hand, and they crawled from under the table to his room, Christmas lights illuminating their path. There, a power bank was connected to his phone with a thin white wire. The device charged Marco's phone when there was no electricity. Tiny green lights blinked across it. "Do you know what these lights mean?" Marco asked. That the phone is charging?" "Well, obviously, but it's also a beacon of light. The darkness always leaves beacons of light so that you and I and everyone will always know that the light will return. It's always there. Light and darkness are inseparable." At these words, the computer beeped, followed by the hum of the refrigerator, the click of the kettle and the toaster. The lights in the entire apartment blinked and lit up. The neighbouring buildings, visible from the window, also shone brightly. "There's the light," Marco smiled. He was no longer in a hurry to get back to his phone. "Christia, let's put something together for dinner when Mum and Dad are back. They'll be home soon. Let's not turn off the Christmas lights. They add a festive mood, and there'll be a beacon of darkness in the light," Christia suggested. Their parents returned home late from work to a home glowing with multicoloured Christmas lights. Everyone knew that the darkness was temporary, and it would never swallow the light from within.
Ukraine cast from BBC News.